Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see. Stick around. I'd love to know what you're stitching. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I so enjoy these videos, and I so enjoy sharing my journey with all of you and you sharing yours with me. So thank you. Alrighty, so we have some decent progress this week. I got waylaid because I was reading for a couple days. So there was a couple days where there was just very little stitching done. And but I think I got some good progress. I did do an extra video this week, if you noticed, in my channel. And I'm going to show you the finish here so that if you don't want to watch the video, you at least get to see the full finish. I think it was Wednesday, I had filmed a finish and a talk through of this piece right here. So this is, I want to say, Let's Talk Autumn from Hands On Design. And I had finished this, well, this lingered, oh boy, for ages and ages. I think I started this at the fall of 2020 because I wasn't sure what to do for colors because of my change in fabric. And so I finally made the decisions. I added die cuts as the leaves instead. We've got some stickers, and I talk you all through that in that video. If you'd like to watch it, just go back one video from this and it'll be Scrap With Me number 5. But I'm super excited. We have another finish for the scrapbook. All right, I have a big pile of pieces that really need to be scrapbooked, but I have to be in the mood and have the right vibe in order to do it. So we'll see when it happens. My goal is potentially, though, to get some more done. All right, before the end of the year. Let's just jump right into stitching. We're just gonna go right into all of the fun stuff this week. All right, now this one is a digital. I have decided every month that I'd like to do a focus piece, as opposed to, I was doing 25/7, I was doing a couple strands, and I decided I don't want to put any labels on it. It's just a focus piece. So maybe one day it gets one strand, maybe one day it gets 3 or 4, whatever. Not a huge chunk of time, but just a little bit to get some X's in. And this one is McChristmas. It's from Cariad Cross Stitch Designs. They are on Facebook. So you have to join the group, and then in their albums, they have hundreds, if not up to 1,000 different charts that you can choose from. And it explains right in the description box. You basically just send them an email, they send you an invoice, and you go from there. All right. So this is where this is. This is a restart. This little guy was started in 2019, didn't like him, didn't really, realize how, because this is he's full coverage once you get going. Didn't realize the commitment of full coverage at that point when I got back to stitching, and I let it go. Then I restarted it. I want to say this was 2021, I think. And I love it. This is on 18 count Lotus from Bestitchme. I had him halfway done, and I ditched it because I just wasn't loving it. And then I decided I want to try again. So let's come on up close, because it's going to be hard to see what I worked on this week. I'm firmly in all of the kind of beard stuff. And I mean, as you can see here, that's going to go quite a ways down. And there's several different colors in it. That's why you're going to get the nice shading, just like you've got the different colors for the plaiting up there. So it's going to take me a while. There's a decent amount of confetti. The nose is done. You can tell here, I don't quite have the eyes finished yet, but they're almost done. I may end up trying to come down one side and then add some red so that I'm not just in various shades of gray land for ages. I will do my very best to give a little bit of stitching every day on this, but obviously with the holidays coming up, that might be a little bit more difficult. I have no illusion that this will be finished by the end of this month. There's a lot to go on this, but I figure if I give it a focus and give it a solid month, then we'll see where it goes from there. And then, maybe next year I can really try to get that finish. It'll only take me 3 years. But it is solid, and I'm enjoying it. It's cute when it's finished. She has some more gnomes, but none of them really called to me like this one did. So this is the only one I have of hers. There are a few other charts that I think I would like to get. The charting is nice. If you've never used Cariad cross stitch, I would say it's not the smallest, because you know I do the paper, so it's digital, but I use a paper. It's not the smallest of charts I've seen. It's not the biggest, so it's kind of in between. I do like that her symbols are not confusing. You know, we don't have a slash one way, a slash the other way, and then some other thing that looks almost the same, all in the same group. I have not confused symbols once with this, so that's really helpful to know on her as well, on her charts. So that's where it is. You will continue to see that from week to week this month until the end of the month, and then I don't know what I'm going to do for December. Maybe I never did get to Christmas Town last month. I just wasn't feeling it. Maybe in December, given that it's, you know, the holiday season and all that. I haven't started listening to Christmas music yet, but I've been tempted, and then I've forgotten, to be honest with you. So at any day it may happen. Okay, next. This is fall, well, it's Season's Blessings from Lila Studio. I call mine Fall Blessings because I'm doing the fall one, and it says Fall Blessings. Funny how creative I am. And I did take a cue from the model color stitch, and I did go in that direction, and I'm really liking it. You know, I can fold this over some more. I don't need all that extra fabric. And there it is. We are just plugging along. I have the second pumpkin done. It was way bigger than I thought it would be. So both pumpkins are done. Now we have just leaf, word. This border just comes down. That's easy with the word blessing is super easy. Then there's a bunch of like little, as this border comes all the way down, and then there's a lot of like little fill-in things. So I'm not sure I could get it done in one more week's worth time. It certainly can be done before winter starts, though, in December 21st, right? It would be nice, though, to get this one done by the end of November. I do want to work on the cardinal. So I'm not sure when, though, whether it be this year or if I wait and start next year. But I'm pleased with this. 18 count Driftwood tan is what I used, and it's from To Die For Fabrics. And it's really a lovely, as you can see, really a lovely color. I used it for something else. I just can't remember what. But there we go. So I don't know if I'll work on it this week or if I'll wait a week, you know, kind of take a break from it kind of thing. Sometimes I don't work on all of them every week because I have a lot that I want to try. So we'll see. So that is Fall Blessings. There is a mini goal on that to get that one done by the end of this month. Certainly, that one's certainly doable. I don't see why I couldn't get that done. Then I felt like changing seasons, and I pulled out Summer at the Shore. This is from Cottage Garden Samplings. It is number 8 from A Time from All Seasons series. These are beautiful. You're actually going to see another one from this series in a little bit. There's sections of it that are solid, and the water will be easy. But here you have to pay attention. There are multiple colors in the Seagull, and you know, not only the top but also through here. So the animals in quite a few of these are beautiful. But the intricate designs mean that the stitching, you got to pay attention a little bit more. When I don't want to pay attention, I go over here and do the lighthouse because that's nice blocky color. And there we are. This one is done on an 18 count compelling Conchis, and that's from Those Missing Stitches. One of my favorite newer hand dyers. So if we come up close, you can see, now this is actually is not white, that's 962. Let me see if I have it here in my, I actually had to have it written down somewhere because there was a mistake in the chart. 762, excuse me. In the chart, there's a typo. It's a 4-number DMC, which I knew it wasn't. And if you go to their site, they actually did correct it to say what it was. But there was a lot of, you know, there's counting all over here. I have to go back and fill in the other color that's in the Seagull's neck, and then kind of worked my way down. So I really just, and then, you know, started some of the wing. So I really just concentrated on this guy right here. This is almost done. I have a little bit more with the sails, and the lighthouse half comes all the way down to the bottom. So I'll jump back and forth. I thought actually I was going to do, there's 2 more stars, and I really did think I was going to work on them, but I just started that day on the neck and I was kind of into it. My brain was sharp enough that the counting was going well, and I said, well, I'm running with it. So you're going to see I jump. If you are new here, I don't generally stitch just within season or right before a season. I pretty much jump all over whatever I feel like stitching. I am to a T, the stitch what you want when you want kind of stitcher, sweetie. I really don't have rigid rules or plans when it comes to my stitching. This one, I'm at a stopping point that I'm not sure where I'm going next. This is Celtic Pumpkin, and it's from Frony Ritter Designs. And I have so enjoyed stitching this one. I really like it quite a bit. Now, there is a lighter green, that was beads, and then some of the intricate work in the middle are 2 other colors of beads. That's kind of where my dilemma is, because everything else, the stitch part's completely done. And I'm not sure on camera if you're going to be able to see. I can see in person fine, but the lighter green, I did stitch that. I decided that I didn't see a point in putting beads on that part at all. So except for the pumpkin, I'm stitched, completely stitched. And for this green, let me see, what do they recommend? Because they do give you, what did they recommend? 8, 3, 3, 4, 8. No, I did change in the chart here. I'm talking to myself in my brain, and I'm not talking out loud. There's 3 bead colors. They do give you a DMC conversion. So for whatever reason, you don't want to use the beads, you don't have to. If you want to use their colors, you can, or you can do a different color scheme. The color that they suggested, I want to say, part of it was it didn't go with the fabric I chose. This is an 18 count, Barely Lime from Dove Stitch. So it's a printed. I really like this green, actually. It is kind of lime, but in a nice light way. So if you are looking for a light green that does have those tones, a little bit brighter tones than, say, Friendship Green from Fabrics by Stephanie, then this is definitely a good one. It's a nice little background green. But anyway, I did have to change. I think looking at it here, I went with number 15 instead of what the called for was. And that it's a little bit brighter than what their called for is, but I kind of like it actually. It kind of brightens it up a little bit. Now, what's tearing, kind of giving me unsure vibes is I kind of like it in the negative like that, so that you really do see all the negative. And because this is a very pale green, you kind of get, it's not just a stark white. There's just a little bit of color scheme in it. So I'm pretty sure at this point that I am going to scrapbook this. I did think about putting it on my shelves, but I don't have a ton of shelf space in this craft room. And I have big pieces that I know have to be framed or whatever. And those are most likely going to go on the shelves before something like this would. So this is going in the scrapbook. So because of that, I've definitely moved away from the idea of beads, probably because this, even if it's standing straight up, I'm not sure how it will, maybe the beads won't get crushed, but is it pushing into the piece on the other side of it, and so on and so forth. I don't want to kind of make anything on the other side look, not so great. So I could do the DMC alternative and just stitch it all in. Or I thought, okay, maybe I won't do both of them because I'm not sure that, looking at it, they both like jump out at me. So do I do one of them and keep the other part negative? Do I keep it like this? I'm not really sure yet. So this could be a finish. I need to, what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to leave this out and just leave it so that I walk by it kind of every day and see what I think. If I think, you know what, that looks great that way, and in my mind I just go with it, then I know it's done. If I'm looking at it and I keep thinking it just looks unfinished, then I'll go from there. So I may or may not have a finish here. I'll figure that out. I'll let it sit for maybe the next month, and then I'll make a decision. It'd be nice to have this one finished by the end of this year. I'm trying to think if I started that last year or not. I don't remember, to be honest with you. All right, next is my full coverage piece. Let me find it. I pick a full coverage piece, you know, for 10 days. This one, I really tackled confetti. So I know I got progress on it. I'm done with the rotation at this point. You're not really going to necessarily notice. So this is what it looks like. It's Limoncello, and it is charted by Stitches So Beautiful, and the artwork is done by Magee. And I just love it. I'm really loving the whole stained glass vibe in the full coverage pictures right now. I have several that I'm tempted by. A couple of lighthouses, not a surprise, I'm sure. But, you know, I have to make a decision because I can't stitch them all. So I am still solidly up in this corner. You can see not only is it different colors, but there's quite a few colors within each of those little designs. I'm hoping when I get down here that these will be maybe not so confetti heavy. We'll see. And I don't necessarily always mind, but I did get a little bit by the end. I was a little frustrated just because I didn't have more progress, even though I was putting in the time. But that's where I ended up with. This is 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1, and a full cross. So yeah, you know, really not a lot to show for. If I look at the design, this might be the bottom of the corner, and it probably goes, you know, I mean, it'll arch up. But at some point, I think I will be getting into more. But I was really trying to pick some symbols and start filling them in. So it doesn't look like much, but I know from my numbers that I did get some done. That will get put away. And I think with the full coverage, I've been really trying to kind of rotate and say, okay, I haven't stitched this one in a while, and so let's give it a go. This one, I was kind of in confetti stuckness, and the one before I kind of ditched after a few days because I just wasn't feeling it. So I think going forward, I may repeat some, and I'm just going to say that's okay. You know what? If some of these full coverages that are started don't get work for 2 years, maybe that's just where my brain is at this point, and they will eventually. I clearly like them. I clearly would like to get back to them. It just might mean I have a lot of full coverages started, but I'm okay with that. I think you've figured out by now that I don't really mind about numbers of open projects. It really doesn't bother me. I mean, boy, oh boy, I had an Etsy store where I had a couple hundred items. So I technically had open items all the time, right? Depending on what an order was and came in, I'd be working on something, and when I had my paper crafting. So I think that whole idea really helped me, that it really doesn't matter if I have unfinished stitches. I enjoy them when I do them, and maybe they get done, maybe they don't, and I'm okay with that. Now I do have a full finish. I know that's not a scrapbook page. I know it's not even an ornament, which I do have some of those, and I do want to do some before the holidays, get some more of those on my tree. I don't know if you remember, but I was working on this series. So I was working on it for my mom. My goal was to get them for my mom when she lived in her apartment. So right now where she is, she doesn't have any space for any of this. And I don't know if this is at this point within her journey of losing some of her memories. When she has things out, she doesn't leave them out. She puts them away and kind of like hides them. So for now, I'm hoping maybe, you know, that maybe at some point things ebb and flow, and maybe she can have some more of this stuff out. But I stitched 9 or 10 of these. I've learned something about myself. I don't enjoy these kind of yearly series. I think they're beautiful. And I'm really glad I've done this one, but it's made me realize that going forward, some yearly series, which are beautiful, I might not do in total. Do you know what I mean? Or I could see having picked some of these and then just stitched the house or stitched this row. Because all 12 of these have the same formula. Top border, bottom border, the word there, house with some sort of trees on each side. So it gets very repetitive if I try to do it too much. And that's why I stalled, to be honest with you. I do want to get them done though. I mean, at this point, because even if I can never give them to my mom, I did put out October, and I will put this one out on my shelving area or in my craft room, and it'll make me think of my mom. So it'll bring a nice memory kind of thing, because I knew I was stitching these with her in mind kind of thing. So that's where my mind is with that. So I do want to get back to, like I said, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 months that I have left. I have a couple more months that need to be fully finished. I am doing the same formula for that, because how I thought I was going to give it to her with a clip up here and she could just clip them each month. I'm not doing that necessarily, but I'm just keeping them kind of all the same size, all the same design. And so this is just a simple 2-layer. I use comic book board because these are small enough, and I use the whatever size. I don't know if it's an 8x10, 7 by something, the comic boards. And this is just fabric. And this is my third, I was going through my fabrics and I picked one. I said, oh, that'll work. And then I saw another one. I said, no, that one's better. And then I saw this one and I said, is this a little too busy? But in the end, I decided no. I thought the multiple colors in there really matched the multiple colors in this pretty closely. And then I just felt the back because it's not anything fancy. These are leaners is what I'm going to use them as, is just leaning. So it really doesn't matter what the back looks like. So we got a full finish. I have, like I said, I think I have 2 more months of these. I know I have December fully finished and I have January fully finished. So I do have a few months if I don't want to tackle this to 2024, and maybe that stitching the last few of these in 2024 is a good plan. So that way I can get that project done and say that it is complete, because it's, you know, kind of hanging over me. I really don't even know what months I need to stitch. That's how kind of removed I am from it at this point. So I do want to get back to that. That is, if you've not been aware of them, if you're either newer to stitching or just back to stitching, Country Cottage Needleworks cottages, and there's the whole year. They have a bunch of different, I shouldn't say a bunch, but I know they have a few different series that are the monthly series. So, you know, maybe that one's not the one you eventually go for, but maybe you choose one of the other ones because they have some other ones as well. All right, now let's go back. I need to show you the next digital piece. All right, this one on the left here is what I'm stitching. This is Twisted Rainbow Sampler. And that's what it looks like. I do have both. I have plans on stitching both. I'm not going to connect them like that. Maybe try to finish them and have them side by side. But that's what that one looks like. I love it. I love the colors. I love watching people stitch these. There is a specialty stitch version of this where you have half and half specialties and X's. I use Ada. I have no desire to go higher and kind of just so I can do the specialty stitches, and there's no way I'm even attempting them on Ada. I like my X's, and this one is a nice pattern because if I'm doing it all in X's, it's a pretty, goes pretty well. Goes pretty well. That's not proper English, is it? I don't know. It goes along. Let's put it that way. So that's where I am. I am not doing it traditionally. When I've seen people stitch them, and I get it with the specialty stitch, right? They stitch a row, a row, a row, a row, and they just keep working their way down. I wanted to do all the colors. Now, do you know that I'm not 100% sold on this? This is 18 count Mystic Gray from To Die For Fabrics. And I didn't want to do it in black necessarily, So I said, well, let's do it in a dark gray. And then the other one, I'm not going to stitch in white, but maybe a light gray. I'm not 100% sure if this is it. And I know I've put a lot of stitches in for me not to be sure. And where I'm stumbling is, do I want them to be two different colors or do I want them to be the same? And then each pattern is a different, if I make this smaller, you can see, even though they're lines, what you stitch here is different from here. And I'm almost sure it's different colors too. So they would be similar with design and possibly fabric, but they would be different in the actual stitch and the colors. So I think I need to sit with this. I need to pull, I do have fabric picked for the other one, and it is a lighter gray. I need to pull what that is. I need to look at it. I need to see if I'd even have enough, if I could do it in that color, both of these, and figure out if I want to restart this. I mean, yes, I've gotten a chunk done, but I haven't gotten so far that it would be the end of the world. Obviously, I wouldn't unpick all this. I would just write that off. Maybe I would stitch to like here and have just a cute little top thing of something or other. I probably might do that rather than unbanding all of that. Who knows? This is a little bit longer than this corner, so I might pull whatever there so that it's equal with this and just have it straight like that, if I decide to go that route. There's just something about this. When I look at it, usually I'll know if I look at something and I've picked the wrong color, it's like, nope, didn't work. Or if I really like the color, I'll be like, yes, I can feel something in my kind of bones, you know? And I look at it and I say, yes, that works. When I look at this one, I have pause. And I have that with a couple projects. I'm not 100% sure I chose right, kind of thing. And it makes me wonder where to go with it. So I don't know. I'm not sure where this one is going at this point. I really enjoy stitching it. It's a nice, easy flow stitch. I like the designs. I like both of them, to be honest with you. And I would really like to get both of them done, you know, within the next few years. So I need to sit with that one and see what I think. And then I don't know, have you done them both? Did you do light and dark? I'd be curious to know what you did, kind of thing. I've seen people stitch one or in the process of stitching one, and I'm never sure if they've stitched both of them or if they just chose one versus the other. Alrighty, now my November kind of the floral focuses is November's Chrysanthemum from Cottage Garden Samplings. And you're gonna say, well, Laura, this is a yearly, monthly piece. Are you tired of this? Slightly yes, mostly no, is what my answer would be on that one. It is the same exact formula. You know, you have the borders, the flowers on this side, the words, and then, you know, come with these pieces. But every single border is different. On the Cottage Garden, they're exactly the same in the sense of how the flowers and everything go. It's just different colors. And, you know, and there's a lot more that's much more similar in that sense for some reason or another. So I do believe I will be able to work on these. And I think part of what is helping is I stitch on whatever the month is during that month. That's how I started them. That's how I've worked on them all this year. This was the very first one I started last November. So this is the first time now going through the second pass. And I think I'm because of those factors, I could see myself getting through this series. Unlike the other one, I really struggled and just put it away for so long. So here I am. This is the edge right here. There's a darker leaf color here that has to come, and it comes down here. I was going to do words, and it's funny, I normally don't mind words and letters. That is my least favorite part in this series, just because it's different colors and it doesn't quite flow, so you're stopping and starting sometimes for 6 stitches, and then, okay, I got to change color, and so on and so forth. And sometimes I can throw in others, but it depends on where I am. But I do try to do a little bit at a time. But I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'd like to get some flower in. And the flowers are 2 tones. I've got one of the 2 colors completely finished in this first one. And there's a decent amount of counting, but again, I was in that groove, and I was just watching something on my iPad, and I just went away. It took me a few different sessions for that, but I went with it. And I really like the color that is coming out with that. And so I'm excited to add the other color. And then there's 2 more flowers. The greenery will be easy. Here we've got all sorts of fun little elements. So no, I don't think it'll be done this year by the end of November, to be honest with you. Yes, I'm okay with that. So these will be scrapbooked, I think. I don't necessarily think, especially if I do keep those other country garden ones. What's nice about these, actually, though, there is no month. So even though they are monthly, this one could go out all fall, or a spring one or summer one could be out all summer. So that's kind of nice. You don't actually have to do all 12 if you didn't want to. Now, this is an older series, 2013. And what's interesting is in January, she does give you a small extra chart that I can't remember. It probably says My Garden Journal, because that's My Garden Journal series. And I think they're meant to be put in a book. So kind of like a mini scrapbook, but just small pages to flip through kind of thing. So see, Cottage Garden was thinking of it long before I got back to cross stitch. Just in a slightly smaller form than what I'm doing. Although I do have a smaller scrapbook too. That is the one you will see every week for sure, unless I just don't feel like stitching it, just so that I can see what kind of progress I can make this month. And then if I get some good progress this year, then maybe next year I do get the finish. I'm going to go sideways with this one. It seems like most of mine, it's better sideways. I remember wanting to get this one, and I ended up ordering digital because I didn't want to wait for the hard copy to come in. It is Spring Quaker from Lila Studio. And I am working down here. I'm almost there. Look at the cute little bunny. I'm not there yet, but I cannot wait. When this comes out for the next time with the rotation, I have to finish this element, and then I'm working at the bottom. And that will be that side done. All right, let me just hold it like this. Now, if you've not seen this before, it's going to look radically different because I did change the Quaker element colors. That's where I am. This is done on an 18 count. It's called Rose Hips from Under the Sea Fabrics. Now, it was a fabric of the month this year, and I'm super excited. So the lighting is awful strange. It's very cloudy and dreary today. I'm surprised I didn't just go back to sleep this morning. I just saw in Under the Seas Facebook group. So last year I was part of last year I was able to get into the fabric of the month. She only opens it when she has spots. And so I was able to get in. The year before that, I was not in, but that's where I first discovered. And in December, she opens up sales, and she usually picks a certain, I don't know how many colors from the year. And if you want to order some, you can. And I just saw a post about her talking about the December plans. And what was interesting is, excuse me, usually she doesn't do all of them. She picks, but this year, and I agree, she had said this year was a really creative, well thought up color year. And I don't know if she's going to offer all of them or what. I'm really hoping she offers more of this rose. I'd love to see her actually put this in the regular rotation. It's a lovely, lovely pink. And I actually would really see, I think this piece is going to be too, so this is how much I have, but I do think I need all of it. I need to do some measuring because I'd really love to do the Winter Blessings from Lila Studio. I would love to do it on this, I think. I think it would be pretty on this and do it, the winter piece in the pink. So if she opens up and she does offer this color again, then I am all over it. And I'm not even like one that always gets drawn to pink, but I have to say, I really do like it. There are 2 different shades of green that I used. Kind of like in the original, there were 2 different browns that were used. One is more prevalent than the other. And that's the same here. I worked down here. This one I'm almost sure it's 500 because I did all of that. So I saw a lot of 500. And I did change that. That right there is the same color as that. And that is also changed because the called for was a bit more reddish. Yeah, so this looks like a red flower. And on this might be where some of these are charted in overdyes, and the DMC was reddish mauvish almost, and it just wasn't really going with this. So I did change that as well. I've made multiple changes, and I'm almost sure in the description box they are all listed as I've done them. This one, it should already be listed because I changed it up here. I've changed the word color from black to brown. I think these other elements have all stayed the same, but this one got probably a good 750 stitches this week. So it is gone for its part of the rotation between this Summer Quaker and Black Vintage. Black Vintage Sampler is up next this coming week. So that's the one I will work on this week. And that one will have a couple weeks break. I'm really liking this kind of triple rotation. It's working well, actually. Alrighty. This one you haven't seen in a while. And looking at it, it's not going to look like much to you, but I did get some good progress. When I did my project parade last year, I picked probably about 12 projects that I would love to see a finish at the end of, I looked at them in the end of 2022, and I said by the end of 2023, I would love to have them finished. All but this and Serena Sprout have been finished. I'm not sure I could get Serena Sprout finished because there's a lot to her still. But this one, if I start putting it, if not every week, every other week, I probably could. This is Poppies in Summer, or Summer Poppies, however you want to translate. Well, I think the proper translation is Summer Poppies, but I call it Poppies in Summer. I'm not sure why. This is from Chrysanthemum, and she has 3 in this series. I've stitched 1, and then I have this one. And it's the same border. It's kind of a nice, pretty, lacy white border. Same exact design as the previous one. And I found what worked the last time was kind of doing both border then flower, and go back and forth with it. 1, so I don't get bored, and 2, so I can make sure everything's lining up. And this week, all I did was border. I said, you know what? I really need to, I'm getting to the point where, okay, this greenery, there's a bunch of greenery, but that's going to go fast. And then all I have is filling in a few of these inner parts of the poppies. So if I don't start getting myself moving on the border, I'm going to be stuck with a ton of border. And then I'm not going to want to stitch it before the end of the year. This one is 18 count. It's called Old West from Color and Cotton. I have no idea if that's part of their regular line. For a while, I was part of their Fabric of the Month club, and so I got this as a Fabric of the Month. I really can't figure out what is or is not in their line. I haven't gotten any recently because I've been, doing some other hand dyers instead. So it's not super exciting. That's pretty much, border and just, actually, I think I was started up here and worked my way down. I've kind of got a rhythm going. And I might, if I pick this one up again, I might still do some more border. I'd really love to get this to come down a little bit before I start working on the inside. I need at least a few more strands of one part of the border here. So, could it be a finish by the end of the year? Yes, it could. Will it be? I'm not sure. We'll see if I get bogged down in the border. If I can get myself through that, I think then the rest of it would go pretty easily. I have 2 more. All right, this is the one I talked about when I was talking about Summer at the Shore. This is the other Cottage Garden Time for All Seasons This is number 11, Turkey Day. Not a surprise, right? November focus. Look at that turkey. Turkey is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And if you want to see the stitch from, I started top and working my way down. If you want to see bottom, working your way up, go to Helen D. If you've not watched her video, she is stitching this. And I want to say, I think Helen, did she say she was going to do some more stitching before the Thanksgiving holiday and then kind of put it away kind of thing? So I bet you she'll get some good progress, because she gets quite a bit of progress done on her stitches. But this turkey is very intricate, and each area is a different design. So it's not even like you can get in a groove and the whole turkey is the same exact thing. That would be too easy. And you can see I have quite a bit of him to go. So this is an 18 count buttercream from To Die For Fabrics. I really like this buttercream color. There's quite a bit of neutrals this week, which I know you're shocked, but I do use neutrals. I don't always just use bright colors. And this is I haven't gotten all the way. I was going to say this is the bottom, but this leaf right here is a more full coverage leaf there. So it'll probably go to right about there. That's probably the border I gave myself. And I think on this one, a couple times I wanted to get back to it again this week, but it was at night. And I've talked about this before, how intricate stuff like this at night, the lighting for me. And which is a great question. I was just talking with Mo, you know, because we were thinking about what's happening. We have people coming to us on Thanksgiving. Are people coming to us at Christmas? Are we going to them? But it made me think about, you know, I'd have to take sometimes hotel trips and so on and so forth. And I would like to have some good lighting, because the lighting, you know, obviously in hotels, or even sometimes if I'm staying in people's houses, is not, you know, it's not designed for stitching, right? Do you have a good recommendation for a travel light? And then if I find one I really like, I can also use it at times at night right by my stitching area so that I could see, because I find that the lighting that I have here right now for nighttime is challenging for a lot of different patterns. I have to be really thoughtful in which pattern I choose at night if I'm stitching when it's dark. And now that it's dark at 5 p.m., if I want to do any stitching after dinner, it's all at nighttime. So I really kind of have realized that I think I need some more lighting. So any suggestions? Travel lighting, most definitely. In one area, I do have a really bright light, but I don't always stitch in that chair. I stitch in other areas, which is why the travel one would be really nice. If you have a light that you love that isn't travel, or it's the same brand as a travel, I would love to hear more about your experiences with that. But this guy did not get, I wanted to give him a time or two more this week, and he just didn't, just because of the lighting situation. He won't be done, obviously, by Thanksgiving. Not that it matters, but he may get at least another time before I put him away for the rest of this year, because, you know, there's other stuff to stitch. And then my very last piece was a start for this month. I'm definitely slowed down on my starts at this point. I don't have very many ready to go, and I'm kind of looking towards 2024, to be quite honest with you. So you may not see a ton of new starts over the next, well, 6 weeks, right? That's probably, we're not quite in the middle of November, but we're getting close. So say 7 weeks, that's the end of the year. You'll see a few, and I definitely have one that I do want to start in December, or I know what designer, I just don't know what chart yet, but there won't necessarily be the 4, 5, 6 starts that you've seen per month so far this year. But what I did start was you'll see this in the giveaway, From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy, Grateful Quaker. I had 2 of these, and so I'm stitching one and I'm giving one to you. Now, like the previous Wendy, I love her designs, but a lot of times, given the fabrics I choose, the colors don't always go. Do you know what I mean? And I obviously liked it because I chose it and wanted to stitch it, but I kind of, as I said with the last one, I needed to jazz it up a little bit. And I did go neutral with the fabric this time. A little bit different neutral than what's here. But because of that, I have one change you're going to see, but I have, except for the greenery, every color will be changed by the time this gets done. So I don't have them all necessarily listed yet because I haven't stitched them yet. And sometimes I need to stitch them on the fabric to know for sure that that's the one. So the greenery, the green is the called for, but then you can see the flower here, the yellow, that has been changed. And I will list that change in the description box. And then as I change the others, and I know for sure what they are, they will also go in the description box. This fabric is 18 count Poetic Pony Boy from Those Missing Stitches. And it is a really, really, look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's a really lovely piece. And I know, again, you may be surprised at the neutrals and the more neutrals I've pulled out. But I really find that for me, and it changes, you know, I don't display much of my stitching except what goes in my craft room here. A lot of it's getting scrapbooked. And, you know, some of it will be framed. It'll go in here. Some of it's kind of made as a hanger for an ornament, which goes in here. And so I don't have decor that I need to kind of concentrate on and say, well, these colors will not match my living room or whatever, the bedroom it's going in. And I pretty much have full reign. And so what I do is I just kind of think in my mind, where do I want to go in something? And just lately I'm in a more neutral vein. And that's okay. So you might see some more neutral colors from me versus some of the brighter colors. Doesn't mean I'm keeping all of, say, the colors the same. Like I said, I do want to jazz this one up a little bit because on this shade, I feel like some of the called for kind of fade in a little bit too much. And I want to make it pop a little bit more. So that's all I have. I think part of it was spending time rather than stitching was starting to go through the colors. I pulled out my DMC book right there. That is invaluable to me. It gets pulled out. Well, if I'm kidding projects all the time. If I'm not, then most likely, you know, I've already made the decisions and it doesn't. But if you're looking to put something on a list to ask people to buy you and you think you want to change colors or fabrics or something, that's invaluable. Really, really helpful. So that's all my stitching. That's what I have for this week. Plans, I will definitely... Well, they definitely do. McChristmas. That's the one true definite. Oh, and Black Vintage Sampler, because that's this the rotation for this week on that. Any of the others, especially the kind of the ones that even are November monthly ones, I'm not sure what you'll see. Kind of depends on what I feel like. I am participating in categories on Whip Warriors this month, and so the letter is B. And I know already I am doing bird for animal, and I have the piece already picked out on that one. And then Black Vintage Sampler, which works quite nice, will be the title design for B. So we have two. I've never gotten all 12 ever of the categories. Speaking of Whip Warriors, they did announce that at the, I want to say it's next weekend. I want to say 18th, 19th, one of those days. If I look at the calendar, I can't remember. Either the 18th or the 19th. If I remember, I'll look at it before next week's video and I will tell you again. But one of those days they are opening up membership. And so you get a chance to join and look around, check out different events. I think they're going to have events that you can try between then and the end of December so that you can decide whether it's for you. They have 3 different tracks of whether it's No New Starts, 24 and 24, or Sweetie. And, you know, lots of different things that you can look at, read, find out the info for. There is a road trip, which is a separate thing. I myself have not done that, and I don't think I'll do it next year. I like what I'm doing with the games, but because participation is required in this group in some shape or form, I find that would just be a little bit too much for me. This is the perfect kind of way for me. So I don't have any experience with that part of it, but I'm super excited to see if some of you are thinking about joining. I'll talk about it maybe more next week and my experiences, and yeah. So, but I am looking at some of anything that has B that goes with one of the categories. So you might see some more of those this month. Alrighty, happy mail. This was a lovely week. Super exciting. Just really some lovely pieces of happy mail. So thank you to everybody. First off, I had talked to you about how I wanted to do for Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher's birthday stitch-along. So she's doing a stitch-along that is any Rosewood Manor stitch, and it's for the month of December. Yay, Beth is going to celebrate all month just like I did. Let's go for it. Celebrate your month. You're worth it. Celebrate the whole month long. I think she herself is starting it on her actual birthday, but I know in her last video, which just came out, if you want to watch, she does talk about it. It's good. It's not a specific day start or anything. Go for it anytime during the month. And it's any Rosewood Manor, so it's not even any specific one. And I, for the life of me, can't remember the hashtag. I'm going to do better next year. I find that I am awful. I think in my stitching planner, I'm going to have a page that lists all the different hashtags that I am participating in and who's kind of like the leader of them, and just keep adding if any pop up that I join in, because I cannot remember the names of them all. So, but anyway, I've gone on a complete tangent. I was talking about, I don't know if it was last video or 2 videos ago, that I wanted to participate. I went to 123 Stitch. I found one Rosewood that I was intrigued with, but I really wanted Blue Rhapsody and they didn't have it. It was out of stock. So a different Beth, not Steadfast Stitcher Beth, but a different Beth reached out to me and said, I have an extra one. Would you like me to send it to you? And I was so grateful. I said, thank you. That's very nice of you. And next thing I know, she sent me several Rosewoods. So I'm super excited. And now I don't know what I'm doing. I was pretty darn sure that Blue Rhapsody was going to be the one I did. I love this one. It's such a pretty piece. And I love these ones in the sense that there's so many parts. Like this would be a beautiful stitch on its own, whether you did just the butterfly or the butterfly in the border. And I want to say that she does offer other designs and ideas, which is really cool. But I would stitch it whole as is. That was what I was really leaning towards. Then Beth sent me these other ones. This one is called Red Rhapsody, which I had never even seen before. That one's really cool. And I love this area. And again, she shows a couple other parts of the design that would be really nice together. So there's that one. And then this one is a really strong contender. This is Green Rhapsody, which I also had not seen before. I really love this one as well. And I love just kind of the kind of vibe working down here and all the different elements and motifs. So this one is now a contender for sure. Now this one I bought. This was the one I had found at 123 Stitch. It's green on green. So now that I do have 2, there will be a giveaway at some point on this one, which obviously I bought it. I love the alphabet in this, and you know, I'm not necessarily one that stitches the alphabets all the time, but I do really like that. And I do really like the symbols and things like that. So this was a contender with Blue Rhapsody, although Blue Rhapsody was kind of edging it. Now, of course, that I've seen these other ones, maybe it slipped a little bit. And then the last one she sent me was Swirling Flowers. Isn't that pretty? Now this one is many more colors than the other ones, and I don't know if I'm ready to commit to that this December. I think my brain might want something a little bit less than that, but I'm thinking definitely for what's next year, 2024? I don't even know anymore. I could see starting any of these in 2024, but I really love the colors in this, and I find them very pleasing, the different matched colors. It really feels good to the eyes when I look at it. I really do like it. So the one thing I do have to change is they all are charted on Weeks Dye Works, so I will have to do a little bit of going to the charts, seeing what the DMC alternative is, maybe deciding if that works or not. Maybe I go on a trip at some point to Salty Yarns, because they would have the weeks that works, and see what they look like in person, and then do a DMC match. We'll see. But after that, now I'm stuck between Blue Rhapsody and Green Rhapsody. These are my two front runners for Beth's Stitch Along. So I don't know what to do. I know I could start both. It's a distinct possibility. I'm not sure. And I don't know. I think these would definitely... I'm wondering if I do like Blue Rhapsody, do I do it on kind of a very pale blue to kind of keep going with the blue theme, and this one on a very pale green to kind of go with the green theme? Or do I change that up? I'm not sure. I want to say green on green. That is like, that was modeled on a kind of a green. So we will see, but this was lovely. And here I was thinking, okay, Blue Rhapsody, boom, done. Now I have lots of beautiful choices. So thank you so much, Beth. That was incredibly generous of you. Then, if you watched my trading card swap video, I showed you all of them. And several people had done the cute little fringe edges. And I mentioned on that I don't know how to do the fringe edge, and that, but I really wanted to learn because I thought it would be a great finish. It's a great idea to kind of complete it and finish it. And some of you gave me instructions in the comments. I was sent emails with instructions. Thank you all so much for taking the time to write out. It is a pretty simple thing to do, but it takes time for you to take the effort to do that. So I really do appreciate you taking that time and writing those out for me. And then this was totally unexpected. I got this lovely card. Oops, it would help if I put it in the right direction. Lovely card from Sally. This is actually a petite original painting by Gail Parent, if you're interested. And Sally sent me the instructions. She wrote out the instructions. And then what she did was she stitched a tiny little piece. She fringed 2 edges and left the other edges unfringed so that I could practice. Sally, you are just a treasure. You are an absolute treasure. Thank you so much for all of your kindness to me. And so what did I do? I did my fringing, and then I made it into a little trading card, and I'm going to write on the back that this was stitched by Sally, and I'm going to say why, and so that I have that memory of her taking the time to stitch something for me, physically, you know, showing me, as well as writing down. And then what I did do is I did the fringing, and then I did put the interfacing on the back, and I put it exactly to whatever the size of unfringed piece there was. And then that was pretty much the perfect size to just stick on a trading card. And I just went with I haven't written anything yet, you can see. I went with a pink that's kind of in between the 2 pinks on this piece right here, between the light and the dark. So I went in between. And now I have a lovely memory and a beautiful little stitch piece from Sally. So Sally, thank you so much for taking the time to do that. And I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to get it in my book. And then, speaking of somebody else who took the time to do, stitchers are they're so generous with their creativity and their time. I mean, yes, they're nice, and everybody says stitchers are so nice, and they are. But it's more than that. They're generous with their creations and what they do, and you all are just amazing. Another unexpected piece of mail was from Mandy. Now, Mandy has a Flosstube. If you've not watched Mandy before, it's Mandy Parker. I'll link her down below. And Mandy had reached out. Mandy had stitched, I'm not going to take it out, this piece right here. And this is Silver Creek Samplers Moonshine. And it's beautiful. If you want to go back and see Mandy's finish, she did finish this, right? Yes, obviously, because she sent it to me. The moon. I remember Mandy getting through the moon. But it's done. And she asked if I would be interested. And I really do like this one quite a bit. I like everything about it. The girl, the moon, the words, everything, the colors. And so I said, that would be lovely. Thank you. And so Mandy sent this to me. And not only did she do that, but she made a card. And Mandy is not naturally a paper crafter. She asked for help from, I don't remember if it was a family member or a friend. Oh, it doesn't say here. I remember, I can't remember, but she asked for help and she created a card, which is awesome. I love it. I'm wondering for my cards that I get from everybody. I've kept each and every one. Every card that's ever been sent to me, every note, I have it in a box. But I'm wondering with the cards, if I want to do kind of like with my trading cards, I have the 9 in a row of the page protectors. Well, if you do, there's different types of page protectors. Some that are this standard kind of A2 size. And I wonder if I can find some of those and then put the cards in those and have those also kind of, because they can't all be unfortunately displayed. I do rotate what goes up here. You can't see all of them, but I do, as they come in, I have them up here rotated so I can see them, and then I kind of rotate out when other cards come in. And then they go in the box for safekeeping. But I'm wondering if there's a way I could also save some others. So Mandy made this, which I love, but not only did she do that, but because my birthday was in October and I was doing the pumpkin birthday stitch along, she stitched a trading card for me and I love it. This is, so the pumpkin was done specifically for my pumpkin birthday stitch along. And there's a black cat, because if you know Mandy has a black cat named Stitches who is adorable and loves to make appearances, generally doing zoomed little flybys, so to speak, on the back of the couch when she goes flying by. So it's a nice little reminder of Mandy and her cat Stitches. So I love it. I love the thought behind it and you taking the time to do this and send this to me. Thank you so much, Mandy. I really do appreciate that. That is going right in the book. Love it. So thank you so much to those of you who thought of me recently in this past week. I really do appreciate that, and all of your generosity of time and talent. It just really means quite a bit. Shopping, I don't have much actually. I have 2 pieces of fabric of the month, and that's it. And I'm only in 2 fabric of the month clubs at the moment. I would really love to be in Fabrics by Stephanie. And I don't know, maybe in this coming year, she had every count but 18 count because she was having trouble at one point getting it. I should reach out to her and see if now that has been opened up. I love Stephanie's fabrics, if you don't know. So I would love to do one with her. But Bestitchme, this is October. Yes, because we are in November now. I want to say this came right after the video last week. But if you have not seen it, even though we are, November, whatever we are. What are we? 10th? 10th. November 10th. If you haven't gotten it yet, maybe you're international or whatever, turn away so that I can show you. I don't think the name will give it away, so I'm going to show it right now. It's an 18 count. It's called Nightshade. And if I open it all the way up, just to give you some sort of idea, it's a beautiful, lovely color. And I get the colors. I'm in her colors group, not her neutrals. So that's what it looks like. All right, I've put it down. So that was Bestitchme for October. I don't know what I'm using that for yet. I have a couple things in mind, but I'm not sure. Then the other one was Under the Sea Fabrics. What's this one called? It's called Orange Pico. But that's not really giving it away. I don't think by that name you're going to know. Because now that I've thought, as soon as I said it, I was like, well, there goes some surprise. But I don't think you're going to necessarily, especially because the way Leslie does her, if you follow on her Facebook group, she kind of shows you what it is, and then people can decide if they want the count that they're originally signed up for or something else. I always get the 18 count because I love it. So I never actually change that. So if you don't want to see it in person, then look away. But here's the version of it. Isn't that pretty? Again, no idea what I'm stitching on it, but it's really quite lovely. All right, I've put it down. So I'm telling you, this year, Under the Sea Fabric, she hit it out of the park. Her colors were really, really good. That's it for my my shopping this week. Do I have anything coming? Not at the moment. Nothing specific. No, nothing specific at all. Doesn't mean that will change. Doesn't mean that there couldn't be some digital purchases in the meantime. You never know. So we will see. All right, let's do giveaways. So I told you I had another copy of Grateful Quaker from Needle Art by Wendy. And I asked you to say the word Wendy if you were interested. And let me mix the names around. There we go. And let me grab one. And who do we have here? All right. I always need something that, you know what? I guess the white on white will be okay. Sharon Mahan? I'm sorry, Sharon. I've completely messed up your name. But if you could get back to me so that I know where I'm sending it, that would be fantastic. I'm going to put your name right in there so that I have it. Alrighty. This week is a little teeny tiny one, actually. It's smaller than this past week's, but I thought it was cute. And this is from Heart and Hand, and it's called Thankful. Today, I am thankful. Isn't it cute? And there is, you know what? If I do this, there are some little buttons with it. So you do get those with it. There's 3 kind of floral buttons. Very cute. If you could say the word hand, because this is done by Heart in Hand. So say the word hand, and I will put your name in the blue bowl. This would be really cute framed. It could be cute as a leaner, even as an ornament of some sort would be nice. Or if you were to do some sort of gratitude journal or part of a gratitude scrapbook or something in November, this would be fantastic to put in there. And then maybe you have written things of things you're grateful for and maybe add pictures of some of that. I think that would be a great little combination. So hand, and I will choose a winner next video. As always, please don't say giveaway or free. Please be at least 18. Once I pull a name, you have 2 weeks to get back to me, or I put it back into the rotation and I pick a new name. I am not sending these out every week. I collect a bunch and then I send them out at this point, just because I find it's a little bit easier for me. So you may get it right away, or it may be a month and a half before you get it, because I've been kind of looking at that kind of time frame for when I start putting them all together and doing them as a bunch. And I would love it if you be a subscriber. I'm not going to require it, but if you are not a subscriber but you watch, that would be fantastic. Thank you if you just hit that subscribe button. Alrighty, so that's all of the stitching stuff. If that is all you were interested in, thank you for being here, and I will see you next video. Alrighty, what's going on? Life. I'm tired. Mo had to, he had to go up to Connecticut there was a conference that he had to attend, and then some meetings up there at kind of the home office. So he was gone for a portion of the week, and I never sleep well when he's not home. And it's funny because when he first started kind of this back and forth travel, I said, well, he never travels. And then he had to go to Texas twice. And now all of a sudden it seems like he's traveling more. So it is the way it is. But I just don't sleep well when he's not home. So this week I didn't sleep great. I find that I go to bed later, not because I can do all this stuff. I just find myself going to bed later. I don't sleep well, and then I'm up. And so I'm a little tired. Maybe this weekend I can kind of gain some of my sleep back. But he's back. Safe trip back one way and the other way. The conference was maybe not so useful, but the other stuff was. So there was some useful parts of the trip, some not so much. What else? Not a lot's been going on. This was a very, very busy week. I had just several different appointments. I had a massage appointment. I am going to a new chiropractor, and very interesting. One day I'll have to talk about all the kind of, he's coming at things a little bit differently than the traditional, and it's been really interesting, and I'm loving trying some new things to help with the different pain and stiffness and things like that in my back and my hips, in quite a few of my muscles, to be honest with you, all up and down the spine. So I've at the moment seeing him twice a week, so that kind of adds. There was book club, which is once a month if I get to reading the book, which I only read part of it, but I don't think I would read it. So I went, they say if you haven't read it, come anyway. And I did, just to kind of be part of the discussion, even though I didn't really say anything because I hadn't read it. But it was nice. It was a beautiful day. We actually met outside. And so I got, an hour's worth of social time in the outdoors during a beautiful fall day. So really, can you complain about that? Doctor's visit, I had to get blood work done. We checked my vitamin D. It's still not great. I know he's going to tell me today that we're just going to keep going on it. I assume that's what he's going to say. I don't see why he wouldn't. I gained a tiny little bit from the last time, but I assume not enough to say, oh, well, yeah, you can stop the high doses of vitamin D. My guess is that will be. But luckily, it's a telehealth. I don't have to go to the office, wait there. I can just click the link, stitch, and wait until he shows up on the screen. So just to talk about that. So, but yeah, just a busy week. So many different things. I was thinking to myself that I didn't have this many things running around back and forth in ages. When my kids were younger, there was always running around, right? But now that, we're down here, I have something usually maybe each week, but it's usually one thing. It's a little quiet. My days I can go out or not, all that kind of stuff. Not so much this week. Maybe that's why I'm tired too. The November 7th, Tuesday, was when the new, the sequel to Fourth Wing came out, Iron Flame. I've read it. It's done. Of course, I had to read it within 2 days. If you're not sure, definitely read it. I'm not going to say much. Fourth Wing was phenomenal. It was a 5-star, 5 out of 5 book for me. So it was hard. It's hard, especially second books in a series are hard. This is slated to be a 5-book series. I'd give it maybe a 4.5. Great book on it. Great book on its own. Just the first one was so phenomenal. It's hard to live up to that. It's the same thing like with a sequel with a movie or whatever. But I still enjoyed it. Clearly, I read it in 2 days. So it obviously still, and it was 600 pages. So it caught my attention enough to make me keep reading. So that also ate into some stitching time. But I'm okay with that. A lot of you said, look, you do what you want to do, right? And if that's where I was veering towards I think one day I maybe got 75 stitches in. And it was all reading. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go with that. And I'm not going to feel like, oh, I should have done this or should have done that. I'm not going to worry about shouldas. So that took up a couple days of my week as well. And then this weekend, I don't know if we've got a lot planned this weekend. I'm concerned about what to do with my lemon tree. I have a Meyer lemon tree out in my screen porch. The screen porch is 3-ish seasons. It's not a 4 season. And when it gets cold outside, it gets cold in there. But I had those little spider mites on them, and I can't seem to get rid of them no matter what I do. So this weekend, I think we're going to go to the nursery where we bought it, and I want to talk to one of the experts and say, okay, I've done this and I've done this. What else can I do? Because if I have to bring them in for the winter, because obviously I want the thing to survive, I want to get to the part where we get lemons. I mean, it's not there yet. How do I do that? So I think a trip to the nursery, and one of my mums is not looking so good, so I might replace that because I'd really like the mums to look pretty for Thanksgiving. The mums in my window box, we got these little teeny tiny ones. They're super cute, and they're doing great, but the one on my front porch, not so much. So yeah, so I think that's kind of the trip there. But other than that, I think it's supposed to be fairly nice, but not warm anymore. Like we had temperatures in the 70s we had 70s, then 50s, then 70s again this week. Mother Nature didn't know what to do. But sunny every day. And so I think the sun is continuing. Maybe rain today, this afternoon, but then nice, but just cool. But at least, if you're going to go out and about, you're not freezing, right? So I don't know. I'm not sure. What are you doing this weekend? Anything fun? I know we're coming up in the U.S. on Thanksgiving in 2 weeks from yesterday, right? So I guess some kind of start to prep and think about that, I guess. We're staying here and people are coming to us. So I just have to start thinking about what I'm doing. That's about it. That's all I got at the moment. I don't know, anything fun going on with you? Mine has just been a lot of running around. Kind of running around. I can't say a lot of it's been fun. But, you know, sometimes it's just the way it is. But anyway, I hope you are doing things that fill your soul with happiness, make you feel good, do things just for you because you matter and your well-being is as important as anybody else in your world that you are taking care of. Fill your cup and you will be so much in a better place to help fill theirs. So take care of yourself, my friends. And until next time, happy stitching.